Afternoon, YouTube. Been a little while since I did an update video because, as you can see here, there's been a little bit of change, but there's been quite a bit of change with everything else. I did a rescape on here. As you can see, there is a large piece of driftwood missing. So far everybody is pleased with the escape. I did a feeding here a little bit ago, so there's still a bit of stuff floating around from the feeding frenzy. Yeah. Walter's new favorite hiding spot right there. The Royal Pleco comes out and about a little more often now. The lace cats are a little less willing to hide. Baker comes out a little more, likes to hide between those rocks though. My Eclipse catfish that I used to never see, I still pretty much never see it. It likes to roam around this area of the tank. Yeah. Not a whole lot's changed here, other than a bit of a rescape, because I needed the piece of wood out of here for what I am about to show you. Bam! 72-gallon bow front. That is a piece of wood missing out of the 100. That is a full combination of my 15-gallon shrimp tank, my 10-gallon shrimp tank, the 20 long, and pretty much every bit of all their substrates except for the 15 tall. I did not use that substrate because of the snail infestation. That's also why there is not the moss in here, because I did not want to transfer any of those the snails that were in that tank. So I went through and caught the shrimp one by one by one by one, which took about 3 hours. And then transfer them over here. So far I haven't seen a loss of a single shrimp. Endlers are already doing their thing. I moved, I think I counted 26 Endler fry from the 20 long when I tore that down. All that substrate did make it in here. It's the bottom layer under this Eco Complete, because I didn't want how it had the sand mixed in. I didn't want that ruining the sandbar look over here. So that one underneath, and then I had another 5-gallon bucket of Eco that is in here. But shrimp are doing great, endlers are doing great. I have not seen any signs of crypt melt or any other difficulty with the plants adjusting to this tank at all. Even with just simple moving, occasionally you get some stress on them, but there's been no problems whatsoever. That piece of decor, I was going to tear it all apart and take the Anubiuses and put them over here, but I like how this wood looks completely bare. And the lack of tall plants in the background, keeping the wood, the height contrast. So I'm still unsure what I'm going to do with that. It might just end up staying there because I don't want to damage any of the plants to pull them off, and they're doing pretty good on there. So for now, that's where it will sit. But anyways, shrimps doing their thing. Got this part of a package deal on Craigslist. I got this tank and the next tank I'm about to show you, and a crap ton of equipment. There's also another. This originally was set up with for salt water, so I cleaned it out, resealed it, and made it what it is now. So on to the other portion of this reveal. That's right, I officially have salt water. This was the other tank that came with part of the Craigslist deal. 75 gallons, 55 long for the sump. As for the corals that it came with, that bunch of polyps, that bunch of pallies, and that bunch of pallies were all one group. It's 3 separate rocks. This weekend I am trading this rock for 2 mushrooms and an acan and possibly another anemone. That one, I might actually pull this rock out, or I need to at least flip it so they are getting better light. And this one is getting moved over here. And then last Saturday I picked up the bubble tip anemone and the sacral leather. They're doing great. It came with these 3 fish. Yes, I know the blue hippo tang will outgrow this tank. Until then, I'll enjoy having him. And the 2 Oscularis clowns. I went and you can sort of see the snails and the crabs, especially there from the cleanup crew. I just added them. It was Thursday, right before 4th of July. I had this whole tank was almost yellow with diatoms and green hair algae, and overnight they had sand bed nice and white, and in the last about 36 hours they've completely stripped the rest of the tank of hair algae. So everything is doing great. When I picked up, put the light on here, the Reef Keeper Light Plus. Got that all programmed. That also came in, I think it was Wednesday night. So I got that all hooked up. I'm going to build a like a box door that will hide all the equipment except for the controller, so I don't have to look at wires everywhere, and also protect it from random accidents, being it's right by my front door there. Although I did ensure that it's far enough away if somebody swings the door open, the corner of the door hits here and the doorknob comes nowhere near the tank. Look out, kitty, you're not going outside. But that is why I have been gone from YouTube for about 3 weeks now. I've had this system up and running. This is day 13, I believe. I got it on Saturday. Yeah, so it's been up and running for 13 days in my home. The previous owner had it for 8 years. And then decided that it was time to get out of the hobby, as he had other things needing the finances, as that's usually what ends a lot of fish keeping careers, is the finances side of it. It is lit with the current USA LED that I was going to use on this setup, which is now all broken down. And I used what live rock I had bought for that. Here, there's a total of about, I think there's about 120 pounds total live rock between what is in the tank and in the center section of my sump here. And then with the WP25 wave maker doing its job of creating flow in the tank. But that is, I do want to make a cover for this section here. Also quiet some of the noise, because that is running can't really see it, but there is a Danner 2400 gallon pump that runs the skimmer, and then I have the Rio 2500, that's 725 gallons per hour that returns to the tank. Here's a quick overview of the sump. You can't see it, but it's drained from the tank. Then it goes through the filter floss to the refugium-ish area, which has, I do believe it's about 40 pounds of live rock there. Maybe, it's closer to 30. And then there's the return from the skimmer. Got some Chaeto, and I do believe Dragon's Breath algae, macroalgae in there, with light set opposite of my tank lights, and then protein skimmer pump, return pump. As for the protein skimmer itself, the thing is massive. Look how big. This is the Bash C 830. It is an 8-inch cylinder, 30 inches tall. Actually, doesn't even fit under the stand. Needs a minimum 1,600 gallons an hour to run. But as you can see, it's doing a good job. It's actually skimming very dry. The water in here is just what is left from me fine-tuning the system a little bit. I flooded it because that's what happens. And as you can see, I'm missing a thumb screw. Don't drop your thumb screw in there. But I talked to them on Facebook, and he is sending me some spare thumb screws and new O-rings for, there's an O-ring that goes here and an O-ring around this top that seals it, and he's just sending me for spares in case I ever need it. And then I have it draining down to a 1 gallon old vinegar jug, which, running 24 hours a day, I've gotten that much out of it in the last 2 weeks. I can't complain. But we are looking at almost 15 minutes now. So I will let you guys go.